I'm Ted Tucker. I'm the chair of the Community Advisory Committee that was created by the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board last year to work with a consultant on updating the 1982 master plan for the Central Riverfront Regional Park. The committee comprises many thoughtful and articulate riverfront advocates who in this video will be able to tell you about the park and its possibilities. The committee was appointed by various public officials usually, and also by neighborhood groups that surround the Central Riverfront. One of the first things that this committee did was to agree that we should call this the St. Anthony Falls Regional Park to highlight the importance of the falls, the central salient feature of this part of the Mississippi River. We put together some principles before we started in on the detail initiatives that we might have. 5 of them. First was adapt within the changing social, economic, and ecological realities. Next we have restore and enhance natural resources, improve wildlife habitat and water quality. Third, connect people to the river by foot, bicycle, transit, boat, and private vehicle. Reveal and interpret past and present nature and culture. And finally, engage visitors through activities, amenities, food, and events. So those are 5 big ideas that we have in mind as we look at the various areas around the riverfront. The riverfront's certainly notable for the great variety of landscape and the development nearby, the possibilities for different sorts of activities, and quite intent on having a variety of activities because we know that different people enjoy the river in different ways. After we established our principles, we looked at the riverfront in 8 different study areas just to get a manageable project. And you'll hear from other members of the advisory committee talk about activities in those different areas.
Kind of striking a balance between accessibility and the wilderness that we have down here that's in the lower gorge. Because it is a really wild part, and it's a tough balance to have more people come and still keep the kind of nature that's hidden right here in the city. Well, I think another major goal of the Father Hennepin lower part of the park is to restore the St. Anthony Falls, especially on the east side of the falls, and to get that limestone ledge natural falling of St. Anthony Falls is really special. And I think to find it in a location like this where it is rustic and it is natural feeling, to hear the power of the water and to be able to see it, I think is really important, and it's kind of magical in a way that we don't have with the falls right now.
The Mississippi is an international icon. Right here in the metro area and right here in our regional park. The Mississippi River Trail, the first state bikeway, winds its way along the Mississippi River. Right here, we also have a gap in that trail. Instead of following the river, the Mississippi River Trail alignment now goes up into the neighborhood and across a highway bridge and through Dinkytown and back to the river. Instead of that circuitous route, the Mississippi River Trail could simply follow Main Street, the Coal Hall Road to the University of Minnesota and St. Paul. So we look forward to and encourage the park board taking a leadership role by saying this missing piece, this 0.6 miles, this point from Stone Arch Bridge to the University of Minnesota, just 0.6 miles, is something worth putting in the plan and worth making it happen.
Talking with other businesses down Main Street here, it's kind of a consensus with us that some improvements need to be made, and it's been 30 years since any big improvements have been made on the riverfront here. So we're all looking forward to a revitalization of the riverfront. Main Street hosts a lot of activities here, festivals, 5Ks, 10Ks. The street is vital for deliveries, but keeping the street very pedestrian friendly, bicyclist friendly, maybe somehow creating an environment where they both can exist at the same time and enjoy everything the river has to offer.
This is probably one of the prettiest places in the whole park. Nicollet Island was called by the Dakota people Witawashti, which means beautiful island. Unfortunately, what's happened is private events have taken over this end of the island and the public doesn't feel comfortable. What we need to do is to return this space back to the public, so we have to have a better event strategy that's going to balance the need for people to have celebrations, but also to be able to use it for their own public uses. One of the things that the CAC found very important is to have visitor amenities to cater to the 2 million visitors we see every year. And one of the things they identified is to have more restrooms. We're standing right by the Nicollet Island Pavilion that had public restrooms until it became privatized. The CAC would recommend that we reopen those important visitor amenities to the public.
Things that's really special about this East Channel is it is this very quiet and special place right in the middle of the biggest city in the state of Minnesota. So right, you have downtown surrounding it and you can see elements of that in the distance, but you also can feel like you're in a northern Minnesota river channel where it's very quiet, where there are owls and otters and other kinds of wildlife that you wouldn't expect to see right in the heart of a city. Where we're standing right here at B.F. Nelson Park, there's a nice landing here for canoes and kayaks, and maintaining this channel for those kinds of human-powered craft and really encouraging that with landings such as this. Upstream from us at Boom Island, there was a channel that went around the island that's no longer there, but in order to sort of maintain some remembrance of that and some function of that, we'd like to see that old former channel be used for stormwater treatment and some of the features of a channel be recreated so that when it's dry or when it's not too wet, people can explore that area, and it's kind of a different experience than the lawns of Boom Island where you can have some active adventure, natural play.
The plan itself calls for the park gaining access to connect this end of the North Loop with the river itself. Right now, we trespass a lot. We come through the Star Tribune property here, and we have a little worn path right there that you can see people use constantly to get from the neighborhood into the park. It's not accessible in the wintertime. It's not as easy for people to push strollers up here. And so if there can be some sort of gateway that's clearly marked, that makes you feel like, yep, this is the way to go to get to the park, that's one of the big things that I like about the plan that's being put forth for this part of the neighborhood.
Bassett Creek area is just beautiful in and of itself. It's just a terrific neighborhood amenity. In the spring, when this place blossoms and it starts to look like a little bit of a forest in a place that's far away, you just can't imagine you're in an urban environment and you have this wonderful little refuge. So the regional park, my hope is that there will be pockets within the regional park that will be differentiated, and some of them will be more natural than others. And I would hope that this particular place remains somewhat natural. Launches on the Mississippi River have been an issue for many people. When we started our little business, one of the questions we asked was, why aren't you on the river? And the two answers that came back were, one, I'm afraid of it. Number two, I don't know how to get on it. But here, it's for this side, it would be nice if people recognize this as a place where they could get on the river.
Well, one of the more exciting ideas that come out of the CAC was our collective wisdom of seeing the opportunity here at the post office. And there's really two opportunities. There's the post office ramp, and that would be an excellent way to connect Hennepin Avenue to the riverfront, to cascade down the river and open up to all the visitors in downtown. And visitors could be from Edina or Bloomington or Maple Grove. They just don't know how to get to the river. Another opportunity here at the post office, they built a mezzanine level when they remodeled years ago, but it's not connected to anything. So the Nicollet Mile connection would work, as well as the connection from Central Avenue, the Central Avenue Bridge. There's an excellent opportunity to have a walkway down from the bridge to the river and then connect to the mezzanine level.
Waterworks Park, which encompasses an area from 3rd Avenue and towards the Guthrie and focuses something very exciting there for development. And so you have the concessions building, which will increase the access for people to come to this area and give them more services, food and restrooms and things like that. But then doing some really interesting planning for these different spaces around here, running water and preserving the banks in different ways. A very exciting plan that I think will enhance this area. Because living here for 11 years, it's very definite that the confluence of Park, particularly, and West River Road and the Stone Arch Bridge has been just a huge kind of energy source. I mean, there's something going on around here all the time. And so it needs to be better planned and better suited, I think, for people to take full advantage of it. And then, of course, we have the proposal to link where we're standing with the Mill City Museum through a tunnel, which would be a wonderful amenity and a wonderful touch to get people here. The path that I enjoy walking down right now stops at the lower lock, and hope to keep continuing it down into the gorge.
Big opportunity that presented itself in the midst of our deliberations was the decision to close the lock behind me to navigation, and that opened up a lot of other possibilities. We had been looking for the proper place to put a visitor center on the west end of the Stone Arch Bridge, and there seemed to be the perfect place. Of course, this requires a lot of cooperation with other agencies. It's not just up to the park board to decide what happens to the lock and dam owned by the Corps of Engineers. But we will encourage all these different governmental entities to work with each other to find us a fine visitor center here at downtown Minneapolis.